All right, here we are.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, we have some
Welcome.
attendees.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. We're going to get started with a recorded version of this webinar. The background on that is that we wanted to make sure that we had all the relevant information for everybody without technical difficulties, because we're all at home. My name's Elisa. We're on the phone with Alex and Sonny today. Alex, want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Alex, curriculum developer at Codecademy. Sonny and I have worked on putting together that blog post, if you've seen that blog post about resources on how to work with Codecademy from home. So that's what we'll be talking about today a little bit. Sonny, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Sonny. I am currently wrapping up our Learn Swift course with the Learn Swift team, and hoping this is going to be a fun day.
Yeah. That blog post can be found at news.codecademy.com. That's going to read as like a background, I guess, script. It'll go into some high-level information. But we're going to go deeper in today. So in just a moment, we're going to press play on the recording. If you're watching this, you'll see Sonny, Alex, and my camera go away, so we can all focus on the broadcast that we have for you. And then as soon as that's over, we're going to pop back in and we'll do Q&A. I'm super excited about this. I'm super ready for this. Thank you so much for already engaging with the poll that we just sent out. Yeah, just some questions so we can know who we're chatting with today. Oh, cool. Wow, it looks like we got some people who just signed up. One thing I want to test before we dive in for real is, are we able to send in Q&A? Can somebody just tell us where you're calling in from? To let's test out this question and answer thing real quick. Let's see what we get.
We're from Colorado. Susan, I'm from Colorado. Austria, San Jose.
It works.
Denmark. We also have chat.
Oh, we also have chat.
Cool. And then
We got Michael Cruz. Michael?
See the polls, or I may have to launch the polls.
We've launched. Yeah.
Okay.
The polls are. I think it's gonna be greedy, or I'm gonna be greedy and be the only one who can see the poll responses.
Cool.
So far it looks like 71% of you just signed up. But 29 of you have been coding for a while. Pat yourselves on the back. That's really great, everybody. We have 86% students on the line with us today. 29% teachers, 29% parents. Those don't add up to 100. That's because you could choose multiple. And holy smokes, 100% of respondents are learning Python.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
That's also a multiple choice. So we've got 50% of people into JavaScript at the moment. We've got 33% into C++. Thank you for filling out the poll. It's super exciting to see this happen in real time. Okay, so this is who we've got with us. We've got people from Pakistan, Germany, Greece, South Central Idaho, and people learning all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be good. This is going to be great. I think that we are ready. We're 5 minutes in.
Yeah, so as this video is playing, we'll just turn off our camera, but we'll still be here. So if you want to ask questions in the question panel as the video is going, feel free to do that. And we may answer them as the video is going, or kind of backlog them for after the video, and we can answer them on air.
Good call, Alex. Yeah, let's keep the lines of communication open. And we are about to get started. 3, 2, 1. See you in a bit. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Elisa. I'm calling today with Codecademy. We've got 2 of our curriculum developers on the line. Can't wait to introduce you to them. We have Sonny Lee.
Hello everybody, I'm Sonny. I'm on the curriculum team.
And Alex Kuntz.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex, also on the curriculum team.
And today's webinar is to help everyone
who has recently signed up for a scholarship or recently signed up for Codecademy to be super successful and use this time to learn to code. So this is an opportunity, I think, for someone on our team. Sonny has so much passion for what he does. So I think, Sonny, why don't you tell us about like how the scholarship program and what you're doing at Codecademy all just fit together with our mission?
For sure. So Codecademy is essentially a leading online learning platform that teaches people how to code in a very easy and fun way. And we have courses on computer science, web development, mobile development, game development, and data science. And we have courses on 14 different languages that each include lessons, quizzes, projects, articles, videos, and code challenges. And our mission behind all of this is that we are trying to empower people around the world to transform everyone's personal and professional lives by helping them learn modern skills like coding. And this is a very tough time. As a former teacher, I can't even imagine what teachers and students are going through right now. And we're trying our best to do everything that we can to support our student learners. We believe that even though school may have been canceled, we hope that learning does not stop. And I'm going to turn it over to Alex right now to go over what we're going to cover today in this webinar.
Yeah, so along those lines, we think that Codecademy is a platform that people can really use to continue learning while they may be stuck at home and not going to school. And so today we're going to go through how you might do that, whether you're a teacher and you're looking to develop some curriculum for your students that are stuck at home, or you're a student that is at home and might not know what to do or what resources to turn to. The purpose of this webinar is to really kind of guide you to use Codecademy to help you learn. So we're going to go through what Codecademy is. So if you've never used Codecademy before and you don't know what it is or how to use it, we're going to give you a little bit of a demo of one of our lessons. We'll talk about the scholarship program that we just started and how you can use your .edu or .k12 email address to sign up for a free pro account. And then after that, we'll specifically discuss for teachers and for students, like what strategies you might want to use our curriculum to help you out in your classroom. So we can walk through maybe different lesson plans that you might be able to make. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I guess we'll start, and Sonny, Sonny was the one to actually write this course, but this is kind of our bread and butter on Codecademy. This is a Codecademy course. This one happens to be Learn Swift. So a typical course will be between 30 and 45 minutes, would you say, Sonny? Like around that size for a course?
Sounds about right.
So, a fairly good block if you want to assign an assignment. A course might be a good unit to be able to assign for a day or for a couple of days. And kind of the benefit of Codecademy is like we have this interactive coding environment. So this is a course that's teaching Swift, which is a programming language. And you can see that there's instruction here, and there are some instructions or goals that the student is trying to accomplish. We have some hints that can show how they accomplish those. And then over here, we have our interactive coding section of the website. So you can write code here, you can run the code and see the result. And so really the benefit of Codecademy is that it's all right there for you on the website. You don't have to do any work to set things up outside of a website. You literally just go to one of these courses and we've got this text editor where you can start writing code.
And some of the cool things about our learning environment is that we have a file navigation system. So right on top of the co-editor, you can actually manipulate different files. The file names is also at the top. And on the right-hand side, that's what's called a terminal. And this is where when you type code in the co-editor, the output will be displayed in the black box.
Right. So you can see, we're doing some simple coding here where we're adding 1 + 1, but as you walk through these lessons, things will get more complicated. And in this case, you would learn all about the programming language Swift. So that's kind of the basics of like what Codecademy is. Essentially, it is curriculum about coding where you get to code along as you're learning. Next, we wanted to talk a little bit about the scholarship itself. So we're offering this scholarship to students and teachers that have education email addresses, so emails that end in .edu or .k12. You'll see down here in the frequently asked questions, if you are a student or are a teacher and don't have one of those email addresses, you can fill out this form and we'll try to get you one of these scholarships anyways. So essentially what this scholarship is access to every bit of curriculum on our site. So if you click here to join Pro, on this page is where you would sign up with that .edu or .k12 email account. And so I'll do, I'll sign up with my old university email account. Hello, Carleton people. And if we go ahead and say start coding now, we also got to do a CAPTCHA, identify some motorcycles.
Never seen that before.
Cool. So we just signed up for an account. There's a little bit of onboarding if you want some course recommendations, things like that. But instead of doing that, we can just jump to the catalog. And Sonny, do you want to talk a little bit about what people can do now that they have one of these scholarships and one of these pro accounts, what they can do in the catalog?
So Codecademy has 14 different programming languages. If you count some of the markup languages like HTML, CSS, and SAS. With the scholarship, it unlocks pretty much all the content and courses in our catalog. So with the Pro subscription, you have Pro courses. You have something called Skill Path, which essentially teaches a skill using a basic language. And you also have career paths such as web development path, computer science path, data science path, almost months long of curriculum.
Yeah, these paths are huge. I would say, 3-4 months minimum it would take to get through some of these paths.
Yeah, but the cool thing about paths is that you can actually start from not knowing any code, not having written any code. And we just kind of built you up from there.
Yeah. But so to be clear, when you sign up using these scholarships, you'll see that this is the account that I just created using one of those .edu accounts, and you'll see that it is a Codecademy Pro account. So when you sign up using these scholarships, you have access to literally every single piece of content that we have on the site. So any of these pro courses that you might be interested in taking, these skill paths, you'll have access to any of those. These scholarships are for 90 days. As of now, we're having these run through what the traditional school year would be. So at the end of those 90 days, your account won't be deactivated or anything. You will just no longer have access to these pro courses.
A question, if I were a teacher, how would I go about sharing with my class what they can do or should do?
Yes. So Sonny and I were both teachers. Sonny, if you were a teacher and you had to figure out curriculum, how would you use Codecademy to do that?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll try to pinpoint is what the class like to do during this downtime. Some of the students might want to build a web app. They might want to build a mobile app. They might want to create like a data visualization, a chatbot. So basically, first I'll pinpoint their experience level, their interests, their grade level, and create a lesson plan based on that by picking a course or a skill path or a career path, and create a weekly calendar or a monthly calendar for the class to follow. Trying to, make the students stay engaged during this time, I'll probably host weekly discussions, weekly check-ins with the students. Another thing that I love to do is building team projects. So after every, couple of modules on Codecademy, have students split up into different groups, have them, design something they want to build and kind of just let them go for it.
Yeah, I think if we, so I just clicked into the Learn Java course Java's the language that AP Computer Science is taught in, so this might be relevant to some teachers out there. If we go into the Learn Java course and take a look at the syllabus, you can see the way that we've broken down the content is into fairly manageable chunks where, again, anything marked as a lesson is probably 30 to 45 minutes of content introduction. So let's see, if we go down to the loops chapter, this lesson on loops will be introducing the concept of what is a loop. It'll have, that guided practice, again, working in the interactive coding terminal. We can jump in here and, oh, look at that, it's a loop. But again, so we teach what the concept of a loop is. Students are going to be able to practice it and, pass these challenges or checkpoints. So in general, I would say a lesson is kind of equivalent to a 45-minute class that you might have, during a normal school day. We also have these quizzes, which are a little bit shorter. Those will usually be 10 to 15 multiple choice questions about that topic that they just learned. So that's a good check for understanding at the after students have completed the lesson. And then projects, which is a content type that we haven't really talked about yet. Again, it's similar to a lesson in that they're going to be coding right on the Codecademy platform. What is this? This is FizzBuzz, right? There are a number of tasks that students will be asked to do. And again, they'll be coding right in the text editor right here. But the idea behind projects is that they're a little bit more self-guided and independent, and students are asked to apply the skills that they just learned rather than learning the skills for the first time. So if I were a teacher, I would probably organize my curriculum around, okay, we're going to do an interactive lesson where we're going to learn new material. We're going to do a project that Codecademy gave us where you're building something from scratch. And then I would probably also challenge my students to expand upon those projects. And so that's probably what I would do if I were a teacher, where I would go through the lessons, try the projects, and then ask my students to kind of expand on the projects themselves, which is maybe a good place for collaboration or like pair programming.
Yeah, another way you can also divide up the curriculum is just maybe one module a day. It might be a lot for beginners, but I think it's easily doable within an hour, right?
Yeah, the module is one of these kind of collapsible sections. So this is the module on array and array list. I would say maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours for a module. Depends on how deep you really want to dive into it.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see that.
The pro of this way is that you have every student share the same progress, right? So you can have nice end of the week discussions, or have a point where you can all build a project together.
Yeah. For students, if you don't have a teacher that's supplying you curriculum, right? If you're just a student that signed up for one of these scholarships and you just got here and you're wondering what to do, I probably, again, going to the catalog, I probably would look at these career paths. These are really long sections of content where Sonny and I were talking about this earlier, where it might take 3 or 4 months to complete this. But take a look at these, see what you might be interested in, whether it's building websites, whether it's doing more kind of computer science theory. The computer science skill path is pretty similar to what you might see in intro college level courses or the first college level courses. Or the data science skill path also, if you're interested in analyzing data, visualizing data, all that kind of stuff. These skill paths. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Elisa.
No, just a quick question. If I am a student, how much experience do I need to have?
Yeah, so for these skill paths, you can start completely from scratch. You definitely don't need any experience. We've built them in such a way that we start you from the very beginning and we get you to a point where you're building something pretty cool. So that's a really good place to start. The courses in the catalog vary. There are some, recommended skills that you should already have. Like the machine learning course, for example, is fairly complex. So you should be familiar with a handful of things before going into there. But in general, these skill paths, you can start from absolutely no programming experience and we'll build it completely from the ground up. And there's so much content in there that by the end of it, you're building some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. But the number one thing that if you're a student that you should do is try to pinpoint what you want to build. That'll help you pick the right course. We also kind of developed this course recommendation that we broke down as a curriculum team that kind of divides up our catalog by education level. So you should definitely check that out.
And
that's on the blog post.
Yeah, I was going to say that's on the blog post, right?
Yeah. On the
Okay,
blog post.
Let's see if I can figure out how to get there.
And then
I'll say that it's a great idea to take notes while you're taking a course, so you can look back while you're doing the projects. We also offer cheat sheets now that help you retain the knowledge that you're learning, especially the syntax. And we'll love for you to think about things that you can build during this specific time. We already seen a couple of really cool projects. I think one of our coworkers, Zoe, psyched this out. She sent this really cool little web app. It's called Do Not Touch Your Face. It essentially uses a webcam and a machine learning algorithm to remind people, alert people, do not touch their faces.
Yeah,
so
we
definitely find your buddies, find your friends, your classmates, and try to peer pressure them to get started with you, and build something cool together. That's like one of the beauty of tech right now.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. Elisa, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that this was fantastic. I think that we covered the basics of how to get started with a scholarship or without one, really. I feel like this answers questions for a lot of people. I think one of the first questions that I know in the community we see people ask is like, where do I get help? How who's going to help me get unstuck? I think we put together, or you all put together, a good list, actually, if that's something that we could show here.
Yeah, the blog post.
Oh,
The resource section, right?
Yeah, the additional.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yes. Right. We talked about teachers and students. Yeah. So here are additional resources. The Codecademy community. So discuss.codecademy.com. Elisa, you do a ton of work over here. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on here?
Sure. Yeah. This is the space to come when you get stuck. Not if, but when. Because that's part of it. That's what the learning is. This space is actually completely monitored and moderated by a group of volunteers. You'll most likely interact with them, and our awesome teammate Lil is in here too, answering questions all the time. So this is a good place to go. I am particularly fond of the rest of the list that you all put together too, because there's an entire world adjacent to Codecademy and ways to learn too.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of really great YouTube channels that teach you how to code. My personal favorite is the Coding Train, which is run by NYU professor. He does kind of similar bite-sized coding exercises where he'll go through. He teaches you how to build the snake game in around a half hour. So even if you're not super experienced programmer yet, I find that just watching people code and hearing them talk and seeing their thought process can be really helpful. And as he's going through these projects, you might have ideas on how to change it a little bit or things that you might want to add that he didn't add. So I really love specifically the Coding Train, but there are a ton of really good YouTube resources out there as well.
Mm-hmm. We also added in, this is a great blog post, how to start a group project. Collaboration is super important in coding, and this little piece just helps you get started.
Yeah, we'll try to get these links out to you, but you can always look through our blog or Google how to start a group project with Codecademy, and you should be able to find this blog post.
And then HackerRank and LeetCode. These two are really great platforms that can help keep your coding skills sharp by having these little code challenges They're great for data structure and algorithm problems, for technical interviews. I think it's super nice to have something like this to do, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, I think these two don't focus a ton on introducing new concepts, but if you already have a little bit of programming experience and you want basically you want a 15-minute problem to wrap your mind around and test out your coding skills, both of these are really great resources for that.
Oh yeah, another one is the Codecademy app, the Codecademy Go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to put that one on. That one is just our mobile app that has also bite-sized flashcards. And while you're, on Instagram or on Facebook, you could just, hop onto the app, learn a bit of coding for 10 minutes.
I think
there's less typing code on that app, just because that's a pretty lousy experience to be writing out a bunch of code on the app. But a lot of really great review cards and like multiple choice questions, kind of quiz questions type things. So yeah, the app is a good resource as well.
that's good. I think what all of these resources here have in common with Codecademy Pro is that they're an opportunity to practice. I think something that's really important to call some attention to is that Codecademy is open to everybody, and there's so much you can learn for free. With Codecademy Pro and this scholarship, you get the opportunity to practice. And I'll leave it to Alex and Sonny, the actual educators here, to the power of practice. But when we want to actually make sure that we are cementing something, we want to dive in. And that's what we're really excited to be able to offer right now.
Yeah, I think you said it well. Yeah, we've another little feature is we have streaks. So with everyone, not necessarily going to school every day, we could see some high streaks up on our platform. People logging in every day and doing a lesson or two.
Yeah,
so,
we were talking about potentially putting together a leaderboard.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know what the biggest streak we've ever had is, but that'd be fun to find out.
Yeah, that's something that we could learn. I don't know if that's. I don't want to overpromise, but
yeah.
It's an exciting time to see how many consecutive days.
I do think we will get increased streak numbers, I'm sure.
All right. This was super informative, and I am really looking forward to sharing this with educators and students who are looking for something like this. There should be an opportunity either on the Facebook post where this resource is shared, or if you can't find an opportunity to write a comment for this webcast, join us in the forums and definitely find the space that we've created just for students and teachers here. Ask questions. Alex and Sonny, don't want to speak for you, but around.
Yes. Right? Yeah, I am certainly on the forums and have answered a few questions.
For sure.
Right. Well, this is great. I think that let's head back just one last time and land on that thank you page, because that's what we really mean here, is a giant thank you for sticking with us today and for learning with us. This is cool. We'll do this together.
Cool. All right. Good luck out there, everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. There we go.
Let's come back. We're here. Looking to share the camera, start video. All right.
Lisa. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We've got some questions. There were some questions that came through for you, Sonny and Alex, which is super exciting. Let's start with, do you provide the full courses of all the languages or just the basics? There's multiple answers here.
Yeah, so I would say that some languages are just the basics, and some languages have a lot of content. Kind of our newer material is covering the basics, although, you know, we go fairly far into the details. Sonny, I think you can speak more to that. Like Swift is one of our newer languages. How would you say, how far into like basic Swift do you guys get?
Yeah, I'll say we teach probably all the fundamentals of Swift before. So the Learn Swift course basically teaches the language rather than teaches like how to build an iOS app. But we are thinking about building a skill path or a career path on iOS curriculum very soon. So that will take you there. And we're trying to do that. We're trying to like model that around how our Python content works right now. So in the Learn Python 3 course, you're learning the basics of the language, but you know, you're able to take that and learn different skills and skill paths. Like, you know, you learn about all the different Python packages and libraries such as matplotlib. For two-dimensional data visualizations, you'll learn about scikit-learn package in the machine learning skill path, and that will teaches you how to do some basic supervised and unsupervised learning using the package. We teach another really fun one is the Beautiful Soup library that helps you web scrape, pulling data from different websites. What else do we got for Python?
Yeah, basically I would say take a look at the career paths, which here, maybe I can share my screen just so I can show this stuff as we talk about it. Well,
I'm going to stop share so you can share.
Cool.
By the way, this is the perfect time to ask any questions. We're here to answer.
Yeah.
We have 10 in the queue right now.
Okay.
I'm excited to see what Alex has to share.
I'm just going to pull up the show the career paths, which are kind of our longest. Actually, let me give me a second to screen share. I need to log into my Codecademy account.
Okay.
Let's answer another question.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a question from Farouk Mohammed. Can a non-CS student join these courses? Absolutely. Most of our courses, a lot of our courses actually help you get started from scratch. So you don't need a CS degree, or you don't need to have taken a CS programming course to start on Codecademy. Are there any other unanswered questions?
Yeah. I'm also, and actually I think this can be a twofer once Alex gets his screen set up. There's one from Irene Wu. If I were interested in following 2 career paths at the same time, oh, there we go. What sort of daily schedule would you recommend to complete both in 3 to 5 months?
Complete both.
Yeah, so I think.
May I ask which 2? I don't know if Irene, you're still in the stream, but can you let us know which 2 career path that you're taking right now? Because the answer might be different.
Web dev and CS. Thanks, Irene. That was super quick.
Okay, so web dev and CS are 2 of our probably longest paths, career paths that we have. It's definitely going to be very tough to do both in, let's say, 4 and 5 months. But if you do want to take that route, which is possible, I'll say you probably have to be learning every single day. I'll say 1 module to 2 modules a day seems about right.
Yeah, those paths are pretty big. I would say one of the, so I worked a lot on the data science career path, and I think that one is equally as big as computer science and web dev. And I would say, I would estimate like 6 to 9 months to complete the data science path. You know, if you're coding, if you're coding for 5 or 10 hours a week, I would say it would take 6 to 9 months.
Yeah. But it is doable. It is doable. But
yeah, and I also think it's cool to be jumping between career paths where you're definitely learning different skills, and you can start to see similarities between languages that pop up in those different paths.
Neat. Okay, I have another question.
Okay.
Are we ready for another one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool. and you guys, you can say pass, that would be okay. I'm a first year computer science student. I want to specialize in cybersecurity and AI. What is the best programming language to master for these two subjects? I already know Java and Python. Which one would be more helpful in my case?
Yeah, Python is definitely my programming language of choice, and I think that that's a great one to use for AI and cybersecurity stuff. We have a little bit of AI content on Codecademy, and all of that is in Python. There are a lot of really great Python libraries for doing machine learning and AI stuff. So that's a good place to start. And then as you get further along into it, you might dive into some other languages, but I would say Python is a good place to start.
Yeah, just to name a few libraries for Python in terms of AI. TensorFlow is great for machine learning. Keras is great if you're, free open source library. Well, TensorFlow is free and open source, but Keras is great if you're interested in learning deep learning. Scikit-learn, we teach that in the Get Started with Machine Learning and in the Data Science Path course. That also is a nice package to help with like the basics of machine learning.
I don't know if I've ever talked to a learner who took the AI course that we have that I wrote, and I would really love feedback on that. So give that one a shot if you're an AI student. I would love to hear what you think about it.
Great, thank you. I think that I think we already answered this, but I think it's also worth repeating. Oh, we did with Farouk. Let's just put this in stone. Can a non-CS student join these courses?
Yeah, in terms of whether you can join I don't know if the question is asking.
Yeah, can it not
scholarship or not? Yeah, so as long as you have a .edu or .k12 email account, you can get one of these scholarships. We'll post the link to the scholarship page all over the place. I'll post in the chat in a second. But as long as you have one of those email accounts, you can sign up for a scholarship. It doesn't matter if you're a CS student or a humanities student or whatever, right? You can get it no matter what. If you don't have a .edu or .k12 email account, we have a form that you can fill out, and we'll hopefully be able to get you set up with that as well. It might take a day or two to get that set up, but we'll try to get you an account.
Yeah. There's another question. I think it's been here a while from Deepika. Will you introduce more languages like C# or etc.?
Yeah, so we actually already have a C# course that we recently released, I'll say a few months ago. And we are currently working on a ASP.NET skill path that our coworker, Nick, is working on. So it will be out in the upcoming months, very soon. And then we have another question from Choi. Thanks. So each student needs to fill out a form, ? Can you tell me how to assign things through Google Classroom and check students' progress? I have used Google Classroom before. The UX is for, did a volunteer work at Code Nation that used Google Classroom. And the UX is kind of complicated. I don't know if you used it before, Alex, but it will be very difficult to teach that in this webinar.
So unfortunately on Codecademy, we don't have something that like lets a teacher, say that these 13 accounts are my students' accounts and like, let me look at all their progress. We don't have anything right now that lets us do that. I've seen that request a couple of times just in this webinar. So that's a good thing to note. That's something that you all are asking for. When I was a classroom teacher, I used Codecademy, and it's not super graceful, but you can definitely, basically I had my students like screenshot their progress.
Really?
Yeah, right. Because especially because our UI shows like, that they're what quizzes they've taken, what modules they've taken.
Okay.
So it's not super graceful, but that's like something that you can do to check their project and have that be submissions. Mm-hmm. I suppose you can also have them. I don't know, Sonny, do you have any other advice on how teachers can check in on students and see how they're doing?
One way that we talk about this in video, but it would be nice to have students work on team projects together. like pair program together. So after, every one module, 2 modules, you have students work on, basically submit the code or like the folder, a zip file, or the output, like if you actually post it somewhere on GitHub or somewhere of the code itself. So that's like another way to check progress, to see them they actually understood the material, applied it to their own personal projects.
Yeah, so some of these skill paths have, let me find one where I know they exist, have off-platform projects, which basically means they're projects that instruct students or whoever is taking the course to download code themselves and be working on it on their own machine rather than on the Codecademy website. And so something like that would be fairly easy for a teacher to be able to check in on, because the students are downloading the code themselves and working on the code on their own machine. They could then just send you those files. So maybe an off-platform project like this one, where you actually go and download the code instead of working on it on Codecademy, that might be a little bit easier for teachers that are looking to like check in on students.
Okay, there's some like really good questions coming through now. I'm not so sure that we got to this one, but this is probably the most popular question I see asked in the community forums is, if I want to be job ready with just Codecademy, will that be enough? The question goes on to say that I know I want your view and your advice. And by the way, I'm already focusing on the web development path, but we get that question a lot.
Sonny, do you want to take that? I think you might know the end of the web development path better than I do.
Yeah, so I think, the goal of Codecademy, at least on the curriculum team, is try to build something that's almost like a one-stop shop where you can come to Codecademy, finish a career path and be job ready. But I do think that it's important to go off platform a lot of the times, to seek out resources wherever you can. So as you're taking a course on Codecademy, I highly suggest to take notes. Even though you don't, sometimes you don't look back on your notes, it's a way to retain information. I'll also try to build a lot of portfolio projects, right? Like use the Codecademy projects, the prompt to build something your own. And I will try to join different communities like the Codecademy community on Facebook and Mobilize. I'll try to join Twitter, follow all my favorite, a lot of like well-known developers. I will try to join Dev2, just to talk code, right? And once you're done with the web development path, you should definitely take the data structure and algorithms interview prep on Codecademy for JavaScript, and that should be able to and just network. But there are a lot of things that you should do. I think I'm gonna write a blog post on this later on to make the programming journey a more a whole one.
Yeah, I'll echo what you said, Sonny. I think like the number one thing is probably to build a portfolio or personal website or GitHub, someplace where you can show the work that you have done. And so the way that you can use Codecademy to do that is to like take the off-platform project seriously, right? Where if there's an off-platform project that asks you to download code and work on it on your own machine, really make sure that you are like comfortable doing that. And then once you are comfortable doing that, I would even recommend like, if you're working on a project that's on Codecademy on the website, you can do it on the website. But then I would even say, grab that code, throw it into your code editor on your own computer, and expand on that project, do stretch goals, do challenges, things like that, and kind of turn it into your own thing. And then that can be a part of your portfolio or website or something like that. But you basically just like have to be able to show your code somewhere.
Show code and also talk code. That's a very underrated skill too, right? To chat, like to talk about programming. And I also think this is a great time to, it's a downtime, right? It's a great time to reset and work on things tackle things that you've never tried before with coding. There are a lot of virtual hackathons going on right now that you could take a look. A lot of them are COVID-19 related. but I highly suggest you to join one, you know, find a team and come out with a project. Next question.
Yeah. Alex, you're still sharing screen.
Sure, I can stop that.
And let's see.
When is the
So this one is like, this is another one that I want to touch on because it's such a common one. I'm having a hard time choosing the kind of path I need to take. When I start a path, I can't focus on it because I'm not really sure if it's the right one for me. How can I fix that problem?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. I feel like you're going to get this question. It doesn't matter which career path, career industry that you're in. Is this thing for me? I've definitely run into that problem a lot because I'm somebody who's interested a lot of things, right? I'm interested in VR, I'm interested in mobile, I'm interested in creative coding, I'm interested in hardware. But I suggest that you just try out a bunch of things, right? Before committing to a career path, definitely learn some of the fundamentals, right? Like a one learn X course. So you understand the fundamentals of programming, and you can use that, take that with you whenever you decide whichever career path that you want to take. And also I like to pinpoint, I think that you should pinpoint what kind of things that you want to work on, right? I think that's a very important thing. Do you want to build a data visualization? Do you want to build a Twitter bot? Do you want to build a Discord bot? Do you want to build a hardware projects? Do you want to work on mobile app, web app, desktop apps, front end, back end? Do you want to work with data like SQL, R, or Python? So you got to pinpoint, you know, the things that ticks you, like that makes you, that you enjoy before, you know, and you don't have to commit on anything, right? You can just, everything you learn will help you become a better programmer, better data scientist, better whatever, game developer. So yeah, you don't have to commit, and you can just try out a career path for as long as you want. And then if it's not for you, you turn over to a different course or path.
Actually, that's a decent segue. I heard the buzzword game development. So from Victor Augusto, what languages or career paths would you recommend for gaming development to build skills and become a game programmer?
So we actually have a skill path on build web-based games using JavaScript and Phaser library, Phaser.js library. So if you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you should definitely take that next. But in the game industry, my cousin is a game developer. He's told me that the two languages that people look for are C++ and C#. So C++ work with the Unreal Engine, super popular, and C# works with something called Unity. And those are, so learn C# and learn C++ are two languages that you should also try to pick up on Codecademy.
Neat. I just want to take a...
Yeah, there are a lot of great...
There are a lot of what? A lot of questions?
No.
There are a lot of great...
What's up?
I think there's a delay with Alex. So
okay.
Alex, okay, yeah, that probably is going to help. Alex, did you want to add to that answer for game development?
Yeah, there are a lot of great intro tutorials to Unity, I know, and so that's using C#. So if you do some of our work on Codecademy, and then you can also follow along with some of those intro tutorials on Unity, which is a really good place to start game dev stuff.
Great, thank you. I want to shout out somebody in the chat right now, Susan Sebastiani. They are sharing information in 1 and 2 points on exactly how they're using Codecademy in the classroom. So Susan, thank you. And I'm going to copy paste some of this information here so that we can have it for later. That's really cool of you. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so still getting questions. This is cool. One from Freddie Cortesano. Let's say that you're completely new to coding. How would you choose a language out of all the general purpose ones? Is there a resource that explains not the pros and cons, but more like the differences? So I think this, like we already answered, like how do you choose, but are there any resources that you would go
To pick a language?
to like show the differences between the languages, or to show like what you
Yeah, I would say YouTube and Google are great places to look for. There's tons of videos that's called, the top 10 languages of 2020. I would say the top two right now in the industry is, number one, number two is Python and JavaScript. Python is super beginner friendly. The syntax, like how the code looks, the grammar structure, and the spelling of the code, the surface of the code, rather than the semantics, which is the meaning behind it. The syntax of Python is very, very simple. Doesn't have too much clutter. It's actually not a super new language. It was developed like in late 80s, 89, but it's super popular because it has, like 120,000 libraries and like almost 200,000 packages. And you can use it in a variety of domains. Like, it's popular for backend, it's popular for machine learning, AI, it's popular. You can use it for hardware now. And JavaScript, it makes the web pages move. So that's also, definitely in the top two. But Python, you can learn it from scratch. JavaScript, I highly recommend you learn, HTML and CSS first before jumping to JavaScript. And JavaScript is great for web development, mobile development. But outside of the number one, number two, the top 5 and top 10, that's very debatable. We just see a top two very strong in their lead. But, some people say Java's, third. Some people say, C++, the list goes on.
I would suggest like looking at outcomes of like what projects do you think are cool, what are you interested in, and then try to figure out what languages are used to make those projects. And so, right, if you're like super into design and that sort of stuff, then you might want to go down CSS, HTML, JavaScript, and make really awesome websites. If you're more into data, then that might be more Python, that kind of stuff. So I would say, realistically, if you've never coded before, I always recommend doing Python because it's a really good beginner lesson or beginner language. But if you have an idea of what you want to make, I would look at those outcomes. If you want to make iPhone apps, then there's no reason why you can't start learning Swift, right?
Yeah.
Any language you can learn even with no experience. And so if you don't care about what you want to do, I would suggest Python. But if you have an idea of what you want to do, then look at the outcomes and try to figure out what programming language is used to make that sort of stuff.
What was your first language, Alex?
I started coding in AP Computer Science in 2008, and the AP test taught Java. And then when I went to college, all of like the intro courses were in Python, and so I did Java for a year and then quickly jumped over to Python, and that's primarily what I coded in for like all of college. How about you?
C++.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've written like 10 lines of C code in my life.
Next question.
Yeah, sure. This one actually is coming from the chat. This isn't coming from the question line. We might need Marielle, another member of the CDEV, CDEV team for this, but what applications would you need to learn natural language processing, and why learn natural language processing?
Why learn natural language processing?
Yeah.
NLP?
What applications do you need?
Yeah, application to learn? What application to natural language processing is how it's worded?
We brought a library and repositories of books and articles and all this sort of stuff that just like comes pre-built into Python. So it's a pretty easy language to get started. And why NLP? I'm also fascinated by NLP because it's language is absurdly difficult. Like, it's amazing that we can talk to Siri and she has any idea what we're saying.
Right.
I think it's cool because it's like kind of a field where it can always get better. and it's like so difficult that there's like always innovations and it gets better and better, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. So NLP is like an intersection between linguistics, computer science, machine learning, and not only we're talking about like audio, right? We're also talking about like word processing and like a Google search, or so we actually rely on NLP more and more, especially in like 2020. Yeah, how do I use NLP in my life?
I mean, Gmail just added the thing where every sentence is like a predicted sentence, right?
Right. Oh, Grammarly too, right? Sometimes we predict, sorry, was it Gmail or like Google Docs or something? Like it predicts the next.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
yeah, all the voice activated technology, all of that is relying on NLP to understand what you're talking about. So it's all over the place.
Niche field though.
Yeah.
I think grad schools are offering NLP programs in the last like 5 years, but it's still, relatively new.
What framework would you, sorry, I'm seeing more questions. What framework would you advise to learn for web development in Python? So there's Flask and Django are the two big ones. We have Flask content coming out within the next couple of months. I don't know why we picked Flask over Django, but those are the two big ones, and we're doing Flask.
Cool. There were two questions that came in that I think I can actually answer. So one of them was from Emmanuel, is when is the next community challenge? So plug for how the communities work. It comes from community members. So that's something that you can visit discuss.codecademy.com, find a moderator, find a super user, and propose a challenge. Also find me. You can find me there, and we can put one together. That's a thing that we just do when we want. Another question that I think I can answer from Stephen Garner is, will there be a meetup in person when this is all over? Gosh, I hope so. Gosh, I hope so. I hope we have so many. In New York City, if you're local, yeah, absolutely. As all things that happen in the community, they come from the community. So Stephen, not sure where you are, but if you want to see a meetup happen locally, find me. I can find you on the forums, and we can do that. I'd love to support you with that. So we're at 59. We're at the top of the hour. Any parting words from Alex and Sonny?
Parting words? Oh, geez.
I know, sorry, I didn't mean it like that, but just like, let's end today's call.
Yeah, I think this is a great time to, it's an interesting time. Very weird time.
Weird.
But I think it's a good time to buckle down and take advantage of this time. If you've been working 6-7 days a week, this is a great time to catch up on your shows. If you don't feel like you've been doing much and you want to pick up want to get started, this is like a great time to reset and learn the skills that you need, build the little program that you always wanted to build. I definitely have 5 books that I haven't finished that I'm trying to read during this period, that like I started but haven't finished. There's tons of little projects, side projects that I've been working on that I'm trying to knock out. Who knows when this is all over, but yeah, I think this is a great time to work on things that you always wanted to, and I really hope yeah. I don't know what,
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This was super cool. It's nice to hear from all of you.
Yes.
I think echoing what Sonny is saying, just like, I think one of the difficulties of doing all this from home is that collaboration is a huge part of coding. I saw one question here was like, it was talking about what are the main challenges of letting students self-learn on your platform as opposed to like being in school. I think the biggest challenge with that is that when you're at school, you can collaborate super easily with other people. And so I would say that the biggest challenge is that you're by yourself and it's hard to talk to people and it's hard to bounce ideas off of them. And so I'd recommend doing whatever you can to collaborate with people, whether that's, getting on Zoom calls and sharing your screen and working through code together. Yeah, doing whatever you can to not feel as completely isolated as you could be if you're just coding alone. Yeah, that's, I guess I answered my question for my final words.
What's up?
I said, I guess I answered a question for my final words, because I can just keep answering questions forever. But
oh yeah, what are your Twitter handles? Yeah, we can share these. But yeah, happy to chat after this through messages and whatnot. If you have questions, more questions. We're in the same situations as everybody, right? The whole world is kind of on pause right now, so it's kind of great to also give me some time to work with everybody here. I think I talked with Michael Cruz. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but for like 2-3 hours last Friday about things that the curriculum team at Codecademy can improve, because we're definitely trying to build something. And there's so many tons of areas where we can still make a lot of stride in making our content better. Is even our highest traffic courses like LearnX courses, like Learn HTML and things like that. So
yeah. I think the main point is that we like hearing from you.
Yes.
And
that's all I was trying to say.
And we want to hear from you so much more. This was cool. I don't want to volunteer Sonny and Alex, but I'll say it for myself. We're gonna do this more, like this.
Yeah, this is fun.
This is super fun.
It's easy. We're just getting on and chatting with all you. It's fun.
It's it's fun because you showed up. So thanks for doing that, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.
Right. See you, everybody.
Oh, Alex, you gotta end it. Thanks.
Oh yeah, let me figure out how to turn this off. Bye all.